It's Dave and Evelyn from the camera store, and today we're taking a look at some unique Laowa lenses. Now, the last time that Dave and I did this with some unique focal lengths, we did some probe lenses inside of a reptile store, and we were photographing snakes and other creepy crawlies. I wasn't totally comfortable, but today we're just here in the studio with some special items that we're going to take macro photos of using these very specialty lenses.
Now these are both sort of ultra macro lenses from Laowa, and so we avoided any bugs or creepy crawlies for you today.
Thank you.
I'll try and make it a little more user-friendly for you. But Laowa is always great at making these very unique lenses, and one of them is a 45mm 2.8 ultra macro, a 1 to 5 times life-size APO lens, and the other one goes even closer. It's a 5 to 10 times 17mm, 17.5, 1.7 macro. So really interesting lenses, but they're certainly very technical lenses.
Now, these are 4 Canon RF mount cameras, and I'm noticing a lot of different physical differences compared to other macro lenses that we're used to. Can you talk a little bit about the structure of this lens, for example?
So, well, I do like how Laowa makes their lenses. They always feel really solid lenses. They're not the lightest weight lenses in the world. I'm okay with that. It's nice and solid, right? Any kind of motion you need to work with it is really positive feeling. The machining on it is very nice on both of these. And what makes these very unique is the fact that they are a fixed focus lens. I cannot focus from a different distance. So I have to actually move the entire lens in and out to get the focus that I need. But that is very cool because once I get my lighting set up, and you'll see how close we have to focus, I don't need to reframe or relight anything. I can just sort of zoom in or zoom out or increase the magnification.
Yeah, so these aren't necessarily lenses that you use out in the field. They're more kind of like a studio or a setup-based lens that has some very, very high magnification within your photograph. Now, who these lenses would be designed for, I mean, that's going to be people that need ultimate detail. So we're talking jewelers, we're talking people that are photographing little microscopic details that they want to be able to really get in and get the absolute sharpness and perfection with those details.
Yeah, now it's all about control with these lenses, and we want to control the light, but we want to be able to control it. They're not a hand-holdable lens whatsoever. So I brought along a really cool rig for us today that makes this working with it so much easier.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about what you brought for this rig in terms of what other accessories you'd actually need in order to utilize a lens system like this.
Cool. So we are running the RF system right now, but they do make it in every other brand as well, which is very cool. There's no electronics whatsoever to these lenses, so it's strictly mechanical. So they make it for everybody else. Now this is a very deliberate kind of photography, and this is a rig that I've come up with for this style. When you're punching in that far, 5 to 10 times macro, right, it's very cool. They're not hand-holdable lenses at all. So I'm running a tabletop tripod here with a Leo Photo G6 geared head, as well as 2 Leo Photo macro rails. So it gives me all kinds of flexibility if I want to tilt up, tilt down, and you'll see in a moment here why it's so important.
Yeah, Dave loves being able to play with different gadgets to be able to build out these rigs. It looks very cool. I'm actually quite amazed by what you put together, especially on a little tabletop tripod like this. Even though they are specialty lenses, this is still kind of a compact profile that I think could be used in a variety of studio spaces, a small, maybe tight jeweler's type space or something like that.
Yeah, you don't need much room at all. I mean, we are very, very close to the subject matter, so you don't need very much space at all. Let's start with the easier to use lens first, the 1 to 5 times.
Okay.
And that's not as demanding as the other one is, for sure. Right?
Baby steps, baby steps.
So this is a 1 to 5 times life size. So 1 times macro means that it's reproducing whatever subject you are life size onto the sensor. So we get the 1-to-1 reproduction. So this is pretty cool if we're doing coins or stamps or things like that. But let's get this put together. Now, so it's all about sort of building something up. So you have to find a nice subject. We brought along a very cool old vintage Leica, which is just a mechanical.
So pretty.
It is gorgeous.
Very nice.
Absolutely.
And little shout out to our used and consignment department. We have lots of really cool stuff like this at the camera store. So, you know, if you're looking for something special and you're in the local area, definitely come in and check out our used department. Yeah.
Now, because this rig is somewhat elevated, we need to elevate our subject matter as well. So usually we grab a box or something else and we get this sort of set up.
Okay, I'll take the cap off.
That's
very
step
important
one.
Step.
Step 1. We will use the box that it came with because it doesn't really matter because you'll see in a moment here that what you're actually able to see isn't very much at all.
Okay, and I just have to take a minute to say that I'm a sucker for nice packaging, and the way that Laowa is presenting these lenses, it looks gorgeous. I love the boxes, I love the color profile, I love everything that they've put into packaging up these lenses. Very nice.
No, it's Laowa's got some really good stuff going on for sure. Now seems like a nicely lit here right now, but we need a lot of light when we're shooting macro. I mean, this is a 2.82 f11 lens, and we definitely want to stop it down as much as we can, but we need a lot of light to make this happen, and it's shocking sort of how much. And lighting in the macro, certainly has its challenges. We want to be able to get really close to our subject with lighting and wrap the lighting around as much as possible. So we brought along a tube light as well down over
Ooh,
there.
I got my tube light. Oh, and look at this. It's also on a little mini
Oh yeah.
tripod.
Yeah, this is all set up and it's pretty cool. So what I love about this here is, I'm gonna let you do this actually. Let's do this.
Oh.
So first off, let's find our framing, right? And we can't tilt down, we have to twist it here. This allows us to rotate this down.
Okay. Okay, so let's maybe move this over to your side, get that out of the way.
No problem, move this over here. Now sometimes it seems a little janky, the setups we have, but it's all about the intensity of light here. So once I get this set up here, right, and our power cables are not driving me crazy, let's lock everything in place here.
So this, Dave, is a very tight frame that we're starting with.
So and this is 1x macro, right? So that's the least amount of magnification between these two lenses.
Yeah.
And you can see already how far you have to punch in.
Okay. So I'm first just gonna line up a little bit by physically moving the rig a bit closer to the item.
Yeah.
And then we have everything angled the way that we want it. And then I'm going to very slowly adjust this.
Yeah, and this is like a fantastic macro setup because you can very incrementally move forward or backwards, and if you want to reframe, you can go side to side with the lever over here.
Right.
And then you can angle up and down with this over here.
Okay. This is where digital focus assist tools really come into play. So in this case, with this Canon EOS R5 Mark II, we have focus peaking turned on, so it gives us a nice red highlight. And as it gets more intense on the numbers of what I want to see in focus, they're going to turn like a nice red color on the screen.
Yeah, now the one thing I do find with this lens is that it is an f2.8 all the way down to f11. Most macro lenses go significantly lower than that. They usually go to like f32 because depth of field is such a problem when you're shooting macro. The closer you get to your subject, the shallower the depth of field becomes.
Right.
So if you want to move side to side, use the other lever over there. And if you want to move up and down.
Nice rig you made there, Dave.
Thank you very much.
Very well done. So as I'm moving in.
Yeah, so when you're moving that, the entire camera and lens are moving back and forth together as a single unit. You're not focusing the lens itself, you're just moving the lens into the focus range. So once you found your framing, what's cool about this one now is that I can zoom in.
Okay.
So now I'm 5x zoom on here.
Look at that. It's just giving you like just the absolute.
Yeah, so this is 5x life size. Now we're using self-timer and trying to use best practices, stabilization.
Hands off, hands off. I can't stay still. I'm
Because
like,
even with the intensity of the light that we have right in front of here, you can see at 60th of a second, we're still only at 640 ISO. So we're not crazy fast, right?
Yeah.
And we want to keep our aperture stop down as much as we can because the depth of field is so shallow with this.
Now, one thing that we should mention is this doesn't actually pass through your aperture information to the camera. So on the back of the camera, you're actually just seeing F00, which means that you're not getting that data pass through from the lens to your actual photographs, which also means that it's not going to be in your EXIF data either.
Yeah, so things that you kind of look at, right? Like I said, it is a very technical sort of method, a way of photographing stuff. Now that's this lens here. Now if you want to really have some fun, you can put the other lens on.
I do really want to have some fun. Day, Dave.
We're going to pull this one back, turn our camera off, and then we're going to swap.
Okay. I could actually see this being really cool for people that have like coin collections or, I mean, you brought some Lego today and I could see people that have just like little tiny things that they want to photograph with like absolute precision.
Well, the reason I brought Lego
this would be
along is
perfect
that people can identify with the size of Lego figurines. You can kind of see how close you can get. I mean, everybody's got some kind of Lego in their life. But we also shot the back of Irfan's watch and you can see just how close you can get. So Let's just turn the camera back on. And now we are at starting where the other one left off. Wow. So you're like, where even am I? Right?
So this almost is getting into like microscopic type levels of detail.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're like,
that's nasty.
What the heck? What the heck am I?
What is on there?
What am I even looking at here?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. There you go.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's play with
so
this.
from there, right, I can adjust this up and down, side to side.
I want that to go right there.
Right. So,
okay.
and we're dealing like these. Each one of these here is like, you know, barely any motion whatsoever.
Right.
And you can see the depth of field on there, how brutal it is.
Yeah, so yeah, if we come into here, it's like just on the numbers, and that like little red peaking is giving us an idea, but you're not working with much. So if we go ahead, hands off.
Hands off.
Clear.
Now, if you like this lighting, this is good. In the past, if we had to step back and refocus, right, things potentially might change. But the lighting never changes. The lens shape doesn't change at all. But now I can go even beyond that.
Ah, you're messing up my shot, Dave.
So now we can go max it out. Now we're at 10 times life size.
No, that's actually pretty cool. Okay, let's...
So you're starting to see all these little imperfections that you can't see with the naked eye. So what I like about this is that it allows you to see a world that you just can't normally see, because it's beyond what the human eye can really see with any kind of clarity.
Yeah, definitely my eyes.
But it's a lot of fun, right? Because it opens up a whole other world. But it's not something that I'm going to take outside and shoot flowers with. It's not something I'm going to bring it inside. I'm going to be a controlled situation. And using things like this, for instance, right? So my little Lego rig, you know.
That's hilarious. Yeah. I mean, I've seen this used for doing like water droplet macro photography of flowers.
Just an extra set of hands.
Yeah,
right, which holds things consistent. So I was able to have a couple of sort of whimsical shots with this as well.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. And you don't need a lot of huge lights, right? But you need some intensity. That's the thing. So we brought along a bunch of smaller lights and make it work. But I really like this big tube light, big light source like this, really nice and bright. But I need that intensity to get to work with this. All right, Evelyn, you have donated your ring.
Oh, I've not donated my ring.
Don't
tell my husband I took my ring off for the shoot today.
All for the glory of TCS TV.
But I like never take it off. But yeah, Jordan gave this to me in 2009, and it's my engagement ring, and it's a beautiful little diamond.
It is very nice, and you can see how close we can get. And this is the 1 to 5 times. So you can see we're only at 2.5, 3 times magnification, and what kind of look that we're getting out of here.
That's cool. I like your lighting choice with kind of like the red love light underneath of it. It's pretty cool.
And with diamonds and jewelry especially, right?
Yeah, you can really play. Yeah, because when you get like that back band, it adds some dimension to it.
Yeah. And so you can have the jankiest looking setup, but all the lighting is in this tiny little, essential little pocket.
Okay, give me my ring back.
No!
I feel like naked without it. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, I'd say the one thing that we appreciate about Laowa is they have some very cool, unique lenses, and they send them to us so we can play with them, and these have been very fun.
Oh yeah, these are a lot of fun. I can't help but sort of enjoy these. They're not terribly priced as well, and they allow you to sort of have this fun. And if you're looking for a project and you're looking for to document some stuff, actually Lego should come up with a hot shoe cover Lego character.
They should. Oh my gosh, that's a good idea.
Okay, I'm gonna mark
We'll have to like 3D print it or something.
Oh.
I think what your setup and the fun that you had putting this all together highlights that we love being able to play with unique lenses, and Laowa definitely delivers there. I think we've had some of the most fun and the most unique experiences with Laowa lenses. They build them really well, and for people that are looking for something that's a little bit more specialty and niche, they should definitely check out the Laowa lenses.
Yeah, and both these lenses are APO, meaning that their chromatic aberrations are very well controlled. The image quality is very good out of these, but it is a very technical style of photography, and I encourage you to sort of look into the proper setups, because it's going to be far less frustrating. Not everybody needs a full rig like this necessarily, but at least one focusing rail is going to make your life significantly easier.
But of course, we want to know, what do you think of macro photography? What experience do you have? Do you like focusing rails? Do you like playing with some of these gadgets like Dave does? Let us know all your comments below.
And which one of these two lenses are you more excited about? I mean, do you want to go beyond 5 times? Is that 5 to 10 times really exciting? Let me know in the comments down below. Follow us both on Instagram.
And if you're new to our channel, please subscribe, hit the notification bell. It's been Dave and Evelyn from the Camera Store. We'll catch you again very soon.